Welcome to Billionaire's Desire. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Tonight, I promise you more than just a story. It's a journey into secrets, hearts that dare not trust, and a love that no fortune could ever buy. Here, every glance holds a spark, every word hides a truth, and every heartbeat is a choice. So, settle in, let your imagination wander, and prepare to feel everything, because by the end, you'll never look at love the same way again. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Billionaire's Desire, where passion, power, and desire collide in every tale. Tonight, let's meet the girl he overlooked, the one who would change everything, though neither of them knew it yet. Elena Bennett had mastered invisibility. In the bustling city where everyone fought to be noticed, she preferred shadows. Quiet, efficient, polite, an assistant at a boutique firm, no one would guess she was born into wealth she had abandoned, stolen by tragedy, masked by necessity. Today, like every other day, she followed her carefully constructed routine, coffee, blazer, her heart hidden beneath the armor of professionalism. Until the lobby of Sterling Enterprises swallowed her in sunlight and ambition. He was there. Alexander Sterling. Billionaire. Untouchable. Dangerous in the way only someone born with power could be. Yet, standing before him, she felt a flicker of something else, curiosity. Recognition. Something familiar in a man who should have been a stranger. Their eyes met. Only for a fraction of a second, but it was enough. His gaze wasn't idle. It was piercing, sharp, intelligent, and teasing. Elena felt the unexplainable stir of awareness. He wasn't merely looking at her, he was observing her, trying to read her in a way that made her heart race. Alexander's smile was slight, calculating, and magnetic. "Ms. Bennett," he said, reading her name tag. "I wasn't expecting anyone like you." Her chest tightened. Anyone like her? Was it a charm? Was it suspicion? Or had he somehow guessed that she was not what she appeared to be? I just started here, sir," she murmured, barely steady. "Just started," he echoed, tilting his head, a teasing spark in his eyes. "Well, let's hope you're better than your resume suggests." She blinked. A nervous laugh escaped her lips. Her pulse betrayed her, but she met his eyes anyway. There was something about him. Witty. Sharp. Power radiating from every movement, every word. Yet there was a subtle edge, almost vulnerable. He wasn't like the men in magazines, the ones who wore arrogance like a crown. No, he commanded presence effortlessly, and it unnerved her. And then, unexpectedly, he added, almost in a whisper, "Have we met before?" Her stomach sank. Met before? No. Impossible. Yet there was a flicker of recognition in his eyes that chilled her. Something dangerous. Something that hinted at secrets she thought were buried. I don't think so," she replied, voice tight. His smile deepened, teasing and infuriating at the same time. Curious. "I have this odd feeling. I've seen that spark before." Elena's pulse quickened. Sparks ignited inside her, fear, intrigue, and an undeniable pull. She wanted to flee. She wanted to run back into her carefully ordered life. But the truth was, she didn't want to. By the time they reached the elevator, Elena felt like she was under a microscope. Alexander leaned casually, but his eyes followed her, sharp and calculating. "Do you always have this effect on people?" he asked, voice low, smooth, teasing. "Effect on people?" she repeated, trying to sound witty, but her heart betrayed her. "Depends," he said, a sly grin curling his lips. "With you? I've seen it before. Somewhere, haven't I?" Elena froze. The words hit her like a sudden jolt. He shouldn't recognize her, shouldn't know this hidden part of her life. But his intensity, it was like he could see right through her. "I don't think so," she said, but her voice quivered with something she couldn't name. His smirk told her he didn't believe her. Interesting, he murmured, that someone as careful as you could leave traces of something else. Something worth noticing. Her pulse thudded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. He wasn't just charming, he was assessing, predicting, calculating, but in a way that made her stomach flip. And yet, there was warmth there, too. Beneath the teasing and power, a flicker of something human. A vulnerability masked by perfection. The elevator doors opened, and they stepped into the bustling office. Their hands brushed, accidental, yet electric. Elena felt the pull, the danger, the curiosity of someone who could undo her carefully built walls with just a glance. "Tell me," Alexander said, voice soft, teasing, yet commanding, "why are you hiding?" Her breath caught. Hiding? He shouldn't see through her like this. She swallowed hard. "I value my privacy," she said, forcing calm into her words. Privacy, he echoed. Or fear? His gaze sharpened. People often confuse the two. The world narrowed around her. Every instinct told her to pull away, to retreat into shadows. But every nerve, every heartbeat, told her to lean in, to discover what he saw that she had fought so hard to conceal. And she realized, with a terrifying thrill, that she was already lost. The office buzzed around them, but Elena felt as if the world had contracted to just the space between herself and Alexander. Every brush of his hand, every tilt of his head, made her pulse quicken in ways she wasn't prepared for. "Are you always this, observant?" she asked, trying to mask the way her stomach twisted. "Only when I think there's more to see than meets the eye," he replied smoothly, eyes glinting with amusement. "And with you, there's definitely more." Her breath hitched. The intensity of his gaze was almost unbearable. She wanted to look away, to hide behind her carefully constructed walls, yet something in his presence was magnetic, impossible to resist. "You make it sound like a compliment," she murmured, her voice quieter than she intended. "It is," he said, almost casually. Then, after a heartbeat, he added, "but it's dangerous too. People like you, they leave traces of themselves in ways they don't realize. Sparks. Secrets. And I'm very good at noticing both." Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. He wasn't merely teasing, he was seeing her, understanding her, challenging her. And despite every instinct screaming caution, she felt a thrill she hadn't known in years. A chance meeting in the office kitchen escalated the tension. She reached for a coffee mug, and their hands brushed. The contact was brief, almost insignificant, but the jolt it sent through her body was anything but. Alexander's lips curved in a knowing smile. "I see that startled you," he said, voice low, teasing, dangerous. "It's okay. Sparks aren't always bad." Elena's cheeks flushed. She wanted to hide her face, to retreat into her carefully guarded composure. Instead, she found herself meeting his gaze, drawn to him despite the warning bells in her mind. "You seem unpredictable," she said, her voice barely steady. "And yet," he replied, stepping just a fraction closer, "you're more mysterious than anyone I've met in a long time." Her pulse raced. Every instinct screamed caution, yet her heart betrayed her, racing toward something she didn't fully understand. She wanted to know him, to see behind that charming exterior, to unravel the mystery that made her stomach twist with anticipation. They found themselves alone in a quiet hallway, just after a boardroom tour. Elena felt exposed, vulnerable, yet drawn to him in a way that terrified her. Alexander's gaze lingered. "Do you ever wonder why some people notice things others don't?" he asked, his voice softening slightly. She hesitated. His question wasn't casual, it was deliberate. She could feel the undercurrent of curiosity, of recognition, that suggested he already sensed her secret. "I sometimes notice things," she admitted cautiously. "And those things," he leaned slightly closer, voice dropping, "they can reveal truths people spend their whole lives hiding. Even from themselves." Her stomach twisted. He shouldn't know. He shouldn't see this side of her. And yet, he did. And that frightened her more than she could admit. A sudden knock at the office door made them both turn. A briefcase was delivered to Alexander, a mundane event, but the tension lingered. She noticed the way his fingers brushed hers as he handed it back, a spark, a jolt, a fleeting promise of more. Then he looked at her differently, a flicker of something unspoken crossing his eyes. "Tell me," he said carefully, "have we met before?" "Really?" Elena swallowed hard. "No." But his expression suggested otherwise. "I don't think so," she said, though her voice betrayed a tremor of uncertainty. Alexander's smirk was sharp, playful, knowing. "Curious," he murmured. "There's something familiar about you." "Something I can't place." Her heart skipped. That one sentence shifted the ground beneath her. He wasn't just a charming, witty billionaire. He was a man who had power beyond money, a man who could sense truths, see what others could not. And he was noticing her. Noticing the real her. They ended the day on the rooftop terrace, far from the buzz of the office. The city sprawled beneath them, but neither could focus on the view. Every glance, every small gesture, every quiet word between them carried weight. "You're different from anyone I've ever met," Alexander said softly, almost vulnerable, yet still commanding. "Not just clever, or beautiful, something deeper. Something I can't ignore." Elena felt her breath catch. Her chest ached with longing, fear, and curiosity. I'm not what I appear to be," she admitted, almost a whisper. He tilted his head, studying her. "I think I know that already," he said, voice low, teasing, and yet gentle. The tension between them was almost unbearable. She wanted to run, to protect herself, but she couldn't. And he didn't just want to unravel her secret. He wanted her. The rooftop was quiet, save for the distant hum of the city. Elena's hands trembled slightly, and she tried to steady her breath. She had been careful all her life, careful to hide, careful to blend in, but Alexander Sterling had a way of pulling everything out of her control. "You don't have to say anything," he murmured, closing the small distance between them. "I have already seen enough." Her pulse thundered. His voice carried certainty, charm, and something deeper, a hint of desire tempered by respect. "See what?" she whispered. "Who you really are," he replied, leaning just close enough that she could feel the warmth of him. "Not the facade. Not the girl who hides behind work and polite smiles. The real Elena, the one everyone else overlooks." Her chest tightened. How could he see her like this, through the walls she had spent years building? She wanted to run, to escape the intensity, but her feet refused to move. Her heart betrayed her. "And why do you care?" she asked, voice trembling but daring to meet his gaze. Alexander's grin was slow, teasing, yet magnetic. "Because someone like you shouldn't be invisible. And because," he leaned closer, his voice dropping, "someone like me rarely meets someone who challenges everything I thought I wanted." The words were electric, burning through the careful composure she had maintained. Her hands gripped the railing, knuckles white, as a storm of emotion twisted inside her. Desire. Fear. Hope. Confusion. All at once. He stepped even closer, until their shoulders brushed. She could feel the warmth radiating from him, the confidence, the power. And something unspoken that both terrified and thrilled her. "You're dangerous," she breathed. Alexander's eyes sparkled. "And yet, you're irresistible." A sudden, unexpected ping of her phone broke the moment, a notification from her private, hidden email account. She hadn't expected anyone to know, but the message was clear: someone knows who she really is. Alexander noticed her change in expression instantly. "What is it?" he asked, voice gentle, concerned, yet probing. She hesitated. Should she tell him? Could she trust him? Her instinct screamed caution, but part of her wanted him to know everything, the part that longed to be seen for who she truly was. It's nothing, she whispered, slipping the phone into her pocket, though her eyes betrayed the truth. He didn't press further, but his gaze softened, thoughtful. You're hiding something, he said softly, almost to himself. And I want to know what it is. But I'll wait, if you let me. Her heart surged. Here was a man, powerful, witty, charming, who wanted her for her, and yet he also intrigued her with the mystery he could sense behind her guarded walls. She realized, with a shock that made her stomach flutter, that she was already falling. And then, before she could think further, he reached out and lightly brushed a strand of hair from her face. The contact was fleeting, but it set her skin on fire, sending shivers she couldn't control. You weren't ready for me, she whispered, half to herself, half to him. I don't think anyone could ever be ready for you, he replied, his voice low, magnetic, and full of unspoken promises. As they stood there, the city lights sparkling below, Elena felt a dangerous mix of exhilaration and fear. She had never allowed herself to feel like this, exposed, seen, and desired all at once. And yet, she couldn't deny it. Alexander's gaze lingered, teasing, assessing, and completely captivated. Whatever this is between us, he murmured, it's only just begun. Her chest tightened. She wanted to resist. She wanted to run. But the truth was undeniable, she was already caught, heart, mind, and soul, by a man she should have feared, but couldn't. And as the wind tousled her hair, and the distant hum of the city whispered secrets, Elena realized that the story of her life, and the man who had just walked into it, would never be ordinary again. The office was a fortress of glass and steel, reflecting Alexander Sterling's world, polished, precise, and untouchable. Every decision, every gesture, carried weight. He moved through it with effortless command, a man who had built empires and mastered perception. Yet beneath the perfection, a solitary truth remained: Alexander Sterling had not yet surrendered to love. Elena watched him from her desk, attempting to remain invisible, but impossible to ignore. He was magnetic, yes, but it was more than that. There was an aura of power in the way he stood, in the casual tilt of his head, the subtle humor that danced in his eyes. He could command attention without raising his voice, and yet, somehow, he had chosen to notice her. Her chest tightened at the thought. She told herself to focus on her work, to stay professional, but her mind betrayed her. Every glance he shot her way left her heart racing, every smirk or subtle nod sending a shiver she couldn't name. Alexander, for his part, was calculating, observing, and utterly aware of the effect she had on him. It wasn't merely attraction, it was curiosity, intrigue, something that sparked a rare flame in a man used to controlling every outcome. She was clever, quick, and yet she carried a vulnerability he couldn't ignore. He approached her desk, hands clasped behind his back, moving with a confidence that made her pulse spike. Ms. Bennett, he said smoothly, voice low and teasing, I hope your first day is surviving the chaos of Sterling Enterprises? Elena blinked, startled by how naturally he leaned into charm without arrogance. I think so, sir, she replied, voice barely steady. It's a lot to take in. He smiled, the corner of his lips lifting in that perfect, dangerous way. Good, he said, chaos separates the clever from the ordinary. I have a feeling you're clever. Her chest fluttered. Clever? That was the first time anyone had seen her for more than her surface. She dared a small smile. I hope you're right, she murmured. Don't hope, he said softly, leaning just a fraction closer. I rarely am wrong. He turned slightly, as if to glance at the office beyond her desk, but his voice dropped, softer now. I'm not easy to impress, he admitted, a rare crack in his otherwise unshakable demeanor. I've met people who try, everyone does, but most fail. They see my wealth, my power, and they chase it. You're different. Elena felt the weight of his words. Different? She had spent a lifetime hiding, protecting herself, and now, somehow, this man, this unpredictable, captivating man, saw through the mask. And what makes me different? She asked quietly, daring to meet his gaze. Your honesty, he replied, voice low, deliberate. Even when you try to hide, it slips through. It's rare. And it's dangerous, for both of us. Her stomach twisted. Dangerous. That word, in his voice, was both a warning and a thrill. She wanted to step back, to retreat into the shadows. But every instinct in her body said to stay. To see where this would go. He leaned casually against the edge of her desk, hands resting lightly, not overpowering but undeniably present. Do you always hide so well, Miss Bennet? I suppose I do, she replied, attempting casual humor. It's an art form. A dangerous one, he said with a grin. Because the moment you let your guard down, someone like me notices. She flushed, caught between irritation and attraction. Someone like you, she echoed. I doubt you notice much beyond contracts and meetings. Alexander's smirk deepened. Ah, but you underestimate me. I notice everything. Sparks, pauses, what people don't say, it's what matters most. Elena's pulse raced. Every word was a challenge, a tease, an invitation. And he knew it. He always did. Later, as he passed by her desk, Alexander paused, leaning slightly to glance at her screen. Not the spreadsheets, not the mundane data, he was studying her, reading the way she bit her lip in concentration, the subtle crease of worry in her brow, the fire in her eyes. Curious, dangerous, irresistible, he thought. Elena felt it, the heat of his gaze, a magnetic pull she couldn't name. Her heart fluttered, yet her mind screamed caution. He was dangerous, he was brilliant, and he was completely unpredictable. And he was smiling at her now, just a slight curve of the lips, knowing, teasing. You know, he murmured, voice low, most people here are forgettable. You are not. Her breath caught. Forgettable? She had spent years convincing herself she was invisible. And now, he saw her. As the day wore on, Alexander noticed a small, fleeting gesture, a way she handled a client email, the confident flick of her hand as she corrected an error. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet he recognized it. I've seen that before, he thought. Somewhere, someone like her, with that presence. His curiosity deepened, threading a new layer of intrigue into the pull he already felt. He could sense there was more to her than she allowed anyone to see, and that knowledge made her all the more irresistible. Elena, meanwhile, felt a thrill of fear and excitement. He wasn't just charming, he was perceptive, dangerous in a way that made her pulse quicken. And she had no idea whether he suspected her secret or simply admired the surface she presented. By the end of the day, the office was emptying, but neither could stop thinking about the other. Alexander watched her leave, subtle longing hidden behind that usual polished exterior. She left a trail of questions in his mind that no money or power could satisfy. Elena stepped out into the crisp evening air, chest tight, mind racing. She was drawn to him, terrified of him, and, unwillingly, hopelessly intrigued. For the first time in years, she felt truly seen. And at Terry.